Well, with me on the phone right now is Barry Graul, the guitarist for MercyMe. And Barry, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on the phone, and we can't wait to see you here when you're in town coming up in a few nights.
Oh, thanks so much. We're looking forward to it, man. And we get to play with Cutlass, which is an added bonus. So
you bet. And of course,
we
claim Cutlass as Oregon's own because those guys are from around here. But hey, I want to ask you a couple things. First of all, tell me a little bit about your daily lessons when you were younger with the likes of Jimmy Page and Eddie Van Halen.
Man, that is just reference to, I'm older, and so I didn't have anything but records back then to learn off of. And so I would literally drop the needle on the records, and I would put quarters on the record, quarters on the needle to slow it down, or the record even actually. I would weight it down to slow the record down from spinning so I could learn their licks.
That is cool. I've never heard of that technique.
I mean, honestly, if I was, if you had to learn guitar today, it's so much easier. There's so many tools. It's amazing. But that's what we had to do.
Yeah,
but
well,
yeah, they were my teachers.
That is awesome. Good teachers indeed. Now, and you started playing like in clubs and dances and stuff like that. You were doing basically secular music. Yeah.
I spent probably 5 or 6 years playing a lot of dances and probably 30% nightclubs and stuff. But yeah, high school dances for days. What
were some of the songs in your repertoire?
Oh, man. At one point, we did like 7 AC/DC songs. Just pick any one of those from that era. Oh, man, Rick Springfield. You name it. Honestly, we had to learn about 1 or 2 songs every week to stay current. Because every time a new song was released, we'd get a letter from the school going, hey, we need you guys to learn this song. Or, so, you had to learn and delete. So,
well, tell me about how you first got turned on to Christian music. How did that come about?
Man, this is great. I've never been asked this in an interview before, and it's basically my testimony. And I grew up in a Christian home and quote unquote, accepted Christ at a pretty early age, and which in my heart of hearts, I accepted Christ and wanted to walk with Christ, but I was the black sheep of the family, and I did every experimental thing known to man through high school, and just fell in with the wrong crowd, and peer pressure is horrible for people who don't have any self-control, and so I started playing rock music, and what happened was, to make a long story short, I was in a band for a long time that, we played dances and clubs and stuff like that. And then at the band disbanded, we quit, and there was an auditioning for another band that was going to open up. And my best friend, who was our sound guy, said, hey, man, they got an open slot on guitar. All you got to do, they know who you are, is walk in, play 1 note, you're in the band. And I can remember sitting by the phone, and there was just a horrible gut-wrenching feeling, like I was not supposed to do that. And I picked up the phone, and I called him and said, I'm not going.
Wow.
And that was a huge turning point in that life. And man, that was a lot of prayer, I think, from my family members and people who know that, you don't need to be doing this kind of stuff. And so, and it wasn't very long after that I got a phone call from a friend of mine who was playing in a Christian cover band down the street at a different church, and they called me and said, hey, you want to come play with us? And that was it, man. I was sold. I was like, what is Christian music? The first group he ever played me was Undercover.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember that band.
Yeah.
Long time ago. And man, that was it. And we started going out, and I turned my life back over to Christ, and I started writing songs with those guys and stuff like that. And I just wanted to do it on a larger level. Was at a camp and met Chris Rice, who nobody really knew who Chris Rice was at that time.
Wow.
And he lived in Nashville. And I said, man, I want to do that. I feel the calling to really, just show the gospel to the world in a different way. And I wanted, the vehicle of music. And he said, well, come to Nashville and stay with me for a week and check it out. And so I did. I went to Nashville, stayed with Chris Rice, and we played football, and he showed me all around the city. And he's like, I never want to sign a record deal. He goes, it'll mess up my ministry, because he was doing camps every single weekend. Like, when I moved to Nashville, I maybe saw him twice a year. It was unbelievable. And he didn't have a deal yet.
Oh, wow.
And so, and that was it, man. I found a place to live and moved to Nashville, and here I am.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
That's a long one, and you can edit.
No. That's very cool. Thank you. And I want to ask you, since then, you've played with pretty much a list of who's who in Christian music, and you did that for a bunch of years before you were with MercyMe.
Yeah, I did. When I moved to Nashville in '88, I actually got a job at Opryland Hotel, and I worked there for about a year and 3 months, and then auditioned for Rick Kua, who was going out on the Rock, Rhythm, and Rap tour. Rick Kua, Morgan Cryer, and Michael Peace was a hip-hop guy. And then just, after that, I was just a sideman for whoever I could be with White Cross and White Heart and Halo and Michael English and DC Talk, Audio Adrenaline, and the list, the list goes on.
Goes on, yeah. Now, how did you connect with MercyMe?
We had done a couple. I was playing for Toby Mac, and we had done a fall festival together, Toby Mac and countless other bands. It was the Festival Candios.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
We traveled around, we set up in parking lots, and then that was that fall. And then Toby said, that was a bunch of bands plus MercyMe. So that's where I met MercyMe, and we played golf together and went to the movies and stuff. So Toby said, well, listen, I'm doing a record in the spring. I only have about 4 shows. If you guys can find other work, find a substitute if you have to, and we'll see what happens. So not long, I guess it was coming into the spring, I got a call from Will McGinnis, and I was actually out playing a weekend, 3 shows with The Waiting, because their guitar player had to stay back and finish some mixes or something, which is really funny. But Will McGinnis called me and said, hey, we need to take an extra guitar player besides Tyler. We're going out with MercyMe for like 55 shows.
Ooh.
Would you be willing to? I'd be like, yes. I mean, pray about it, yes. And so, I got a substitute to fill in for Toby, and it was at the end of that tour that MercyMe asked me to join.
Outstanding.
So, that's
very cool. Well, let me ask you,
my whole life.
what's the best part of being in MercyMe?
Oh man, you know what? The best part is actually being a family, because when you're a sideman and just playing for, you go out with this weekend with this person, another weekend with that person. There's no family unit feel, but we get to do everything together, and it's the ups and the downs, and that really is the best part. That I was missing doing, just doing sideman work.
Now, when you guys are out, obviously you guys, you're in concert a lot. You certainly spend a lot of time in the studio as well. But when you're out and you're doing shows, how do you categorize a good show? What is a good show for you?
A good show is probably when we, everything is firing on all cylinders, meaning, everybody's feeling good. There were no horrible technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's like when you feel like you're really connecting with the crowd, which, we have a couple songs that really do that. And it's hard to say that we really have any bad shows, because God moves in so many different ways in different people. And so, just a great show is when everything is just going great,
Yeah.
I mean, really bad shows are really bad shows. Usually that's the monitor mix in our ears.
Oh yeah. Well, let me ask you something. With that in mind, do you ever have shows that have all the elements of a bad show? You had some technical glitches, maybe, but then you heard maybe stories of some of how people were reached during the Does it ever change your opinion of a bad show when you hear some of that stuff? Okay, not really. Okay, I have one really good story, but then you don't really hear the bad stuff. Is what we think is bad is not bad to other people
to the audience, they don't even know it. They have no idea. So it's only bad to us. But on the good side, we finished the show one night and we did a little meet and greet afterwards. And his father came to the line with 4 boys, and he proceeded to tell Bart, he's like, I just want to tell you that my wife passed away, and that, you know, we played I Can Only Imagine, you know, at her funeral, and he was, you know, Bart in his mind, you know, and this is not bad about any story we've ever heard about Imagine, because, you know, we take it very seriously what we do, and it, you know, that song has touched 1 million people. And so Bart was already kind of fast forwarding in his mind, and he's telling us this. He's like, yeah, I'm not the guy. I know what the guy was saying, you know, and his wife passed away, and it's like we've heard that story 1 million times. But then the guy said, but I want to let you know, all 4 of my boys accepted Christ at your show tonight.
Wow.
That was the kicker.
Wow.
And that's why we do what we do. And you know, emails that we've gotten of people that were going to commit suicide, but pulled over the side of the road when they heard the song "I'm Beautiful" and decided not to commit suicide. We've gotten emails like that through our management company. I mean, that makes it all worthwhile to us. So, you know, God speaks through us to folks in so many different ways.
That's amazing. I appreciate hearing that. Now, you guys are going to be here in a couple nights. Last question here. Anything you'd like to share with our audience in advance, in anticipation of Friday night's concert?
Oh man, we're just ready to worship with Cutlass. Cutlass is an awesome band. They were actually on the Go show that we did with Audio Adrenaline, those 55 cities. So we've known those guys a long time, and we love them. And we're going to all worship together. And just aside from that, we will have a new record coming out in the spring, and we're shooting a video for a song that no one's heard yet, and I can't tell you anything about it. But it is going to be awesome.
All right.
So I'll let you know about that one.
Excellent. Well, we really appreciate that. We're really excited about Friday night's concert. And Barry Graul, guitarist for MercyMe, thank you so much for spending time with us, and we look forward to seeing you this Friday night.
We look forward to it, too. Thank you so much.